Let's be honest, we've all got that one piece of furniture. That one item in the family, passed down from generation to generation, that just feels off. Maybe it's a rocking chair that gently sways when no one is in the room. Maybe it's a mirror that you feel like you just saw something move in, or maybe, just maybe, it's a portrait. An old, stern-looking ancestor whose eyes seem to lock onto yours, no matter where you stand in the living room. Most of us just nervously laugh it off, throw a sheet over it, or stick it in the attic. But one woman inheriting just such a portrait did something braver. She packed up her spectral family member and brought him to the Antiques Roadshow. What happened next, during the show's 2016 stop in Salt Lake City, wasn't just another appraisal. It was a moment that sent a delightful shiver down the spine of expert Ken Farmer and everyone watching. This wasn't just a painting, it was a story. And according to the family, it was a story that was still being written by the painting's original owner. The man in the painting. When the guest unwrapped the large, imposing portrait, Ken Farmer saw what he had likely seen thousands of times before, an 18th-century depiction of a family relative. But as the guest started talking, Farmer's professional smile turned into one of genuine, captivated shock. The guest, understandably a little apprehensive about holding this thing, introduced the man in the frame. "This is Aaron Delano," she began, her voice a mix of family pride and slight unease. "He is my fifth great-grand-uncle." The man staring out from the canvas was young, handsome, and dressed in the fine, patterned vest of a successful man. His gaze was direct, confident, and perhaps a little haunting. "We believe that he was the youngest sea captain in the New England area," the guest continued, piecing together the family lore. "He was born in 1767, and unfortunately he passed away, lost at sea in 1794. He was only 27. Just imagine that for a second. A 27-year-old captain, responsible for a ship, a crew, and valuable cargo, navigating the treacherous New England coast. The family history said his trade route took him from Plymouth to Nantucket, up the rugged coast of Maine, and sometimes as far as Nova Scotia. He was a man of the sea, defined by the ocean's opportunity and ultimately consumed by its peril." And then the guest dropped the line that made this appraisal unlike any other. "Over the years," she said, taking a breath, "we have decided as a family that he's probably haunted." Ken Farmer let out a sudden, delighted laugh. This was new. The footsteps in the hall. The guest, now validated, opened up about the experiences that had followed this painting through generations. This wasn't just a passive object, it was an active presence. "When I was a teenager, my parents got him, and they'd hang him in the front stairway," she explained. "You can just picture it, can't you? That shadowy landing in an old house, the perfect stage for something unsettling. I would swear," she emphasized, "that I could hear him open and close the front door, walk up the stairs, and walk down the hall. Think about that. The specific, unmistakable sounds. The heavy thud of a solid wood door closing. The deliberate creak, creak, creak of footsteps on the old wooden stairs. The sound of someone walking with purpose down the hallway, right past your teenage bedroom. And I would think it was my father or my mother coming home," she said, recalling the mix of annoyance and confusion. "And I'd go out, and there was no one there. The emptiness of the hallway, the silence of the house rushing back in. The portrait of Aaron Delano, hanging at the top of the stairs, watching. If it had just been her, maybe she could have dismissed it, but she wasn't alone. My older sister," she added, "also experienced the walking sound in the hallway. It was a shared secret, a family quirk. Aaron was just around. He wasn't malicious, he was just present, still walking the halls of his home, still keeping watch, even centuries after his ship went down. The painting, it seemed, was his anchor to the world he'd been taken from too soon. The experiences didn't stop in her childhood. Aaron, it seems, has a bit of a personality. When I was taking the picture down to bring it here," she said, gesturing to the painting, "my husband was helping me. He was on the ladder, and all of a sudden, the ladder slipped and went. Oh!" A jolt of panic. The heavy, glass-fronted painting threatening to come crashing down. Her husband, catching his balance, shouted the very first thing that came to his mind, not an expletive, but a name. The first thing he said was, "Oh, Aaron." Aaron was, apparently, making his presence known, perhaps unhappy about being moved from his post. The expert's verdict. Ken Farmer was absolutely beaming. "We see portraits of people's relatives all the time," he said.